As the question of identity relates to sex and gender, every answer is bound to stir up controversy. This controversy is, at its core, a worldview conflict. In this video, I'll look at sex and gender through both the naturalist and the Christian lenses. As you listen, consider this question: which worldview offers the more stable foundation for sex and gender identity? In my video, 5 Facets of Identity, I explained how the transcendent, essential, compositional, cultural, and relational each play a critical role in shaping the Christian view of identity. Now, as we begin to look at the topic of sex and gender, a significant difference comes into focus when we realize that the naturalist, that is, anyone who denies God is our creator, rejects both the transcendent and the essential parts of identity. The naturalistic worldview can be summarized by the concept cogito ergo sum, or I think, therefore I am. The idea that thoughts and feelings create reality has impacted our culture in every way. Take, for example, a person with dysmorphia who believes their healthy right arm is somehow wrong for their body. Some psychologists argue that the way to support this person is through elective amputation. Or what about this white man who believes that he was born in the wrong body and lives his life as a Filipino woman? For others, their human body is wrong, so they surgically alter their appearance to align with their belief that they are an animal like a dog, or even a mythical creature like a dragon. Given this cultural embrace of I think, therefore I am, it's not a surprise that naturalism has led to a reimagination of sex and gender. The genderbread person is a graphical representation that has been translated into several languages and gone from version 1.0 to 4.0 in just a few short years. These evolving definitions, say the author, are not a bug, but a feature, because understanding sex and gender is a, quote, forever work in progress, end quote, that will never be finished as long as people can think for themselves new possibilities on the infinite spectrum of gender identity. Therefore, says the naturalist, male and female are merely social constructs assigned at birth that can change over time because gender has no transcendent or essential purpose. Male and female are merely two options on an infinite spectrum. Gender identity is fluid and constantly changes with one's compositional, cultural, and relational identities. Male and female are only two options along the spectrum of marriage and procreation. Each person then can decide their own gender, the gender of their partner, or even if they prefer multiple partners. We can summarize everything with this simple definition. Naturalism sees sex and gender identity as part of the evolving nature of each human person that is tied to perceptions and desires. Now let's turn to the Christian view of sex and gender, which is best summarized by the phrase Deus dixit ergo sum, or God spoke, therefore I am. In Genesis, we read how the first man and woman are made in the image of God, and therefore we can say that male and female are assigned by God and tied to our transcendent, or that is our soulish and essential or biological identity. In Genesis 2, we see that God's design for the male and female are necessary complements for marriage and procreation. So where gender identity is fixed, gender expression can still have cultural variation that is healthy as long as that variation aligns with God's transcendent and essential purpose. So a Scotsman who wears a kilt and moves to a place where only women wear dresses does not become a woman. A baby girl who likes to play with trucks does not become a boy. Therefore, for the Christian, sex and gender identity are a fixed design feature of every human person that is tied to God's creative purpose. There we have it, 2 very different views of sex and gender identity. Now, keeping each of these facets in mind, let's think back to the 2 phrases, I think, therefore I am, and God spoke, therefore I am, and the worldview each one represents. Now ask yourselves these 2 questions. First, which worldview offers the more stable foundation for sex and gender identity? Emotionally, culturally, and why? Second, if we accept as true that God created each person male or female, what role do feelings, culture, bodily composition, and relationships play in living out our sex and gender identity?